welcome to this edition of The Investigators. I'm Vanessa Murphy, investigative reporter at KLAS TV in Las Vegas. This week we are doing something a little different. I have reporter Joshua Peguero here with me. Thanks, Joshua, for joining me.
Thank you, Vanessa, for having me on this show. Thank you for the opportunity.
Of course. And I want to talk about a news event here that I think rocked the Las Vegas Valley. I think it's something that affected many of us, specifically you, because you were right there. You were covering this. Let's take a look.
I just want to remind everybody that we lost a life today that we didn't have to lose. An 11-year-old was on his way to school, and this senseless act took his life.
I shot at him, bro. I didn't know.
Shot at him?
I didn't know.
I need everybody to be patient on our roadways. We have an obligation to look out for each other.
Notified.
I would rather you be stuck in traffic and late for your destination than have to go to a funeral for a loved one or potentially spend the rest of your life in prison.
So we often cover shootings that stem from road rage, right? But I think for me, when you hear a child was affected by this, it is taken to another level.
Yes, it is. And to find out the child was on his way to school and was sitting on the back seat, and it was a dispute that allegedly happened between two adults. His stepfather who was driving him to school, and then another vehicle. It's sad, very sad.
Yeah. So Sasha Loftus covered this, I believe, that evening. Let's take a look at Sasha's report.
This part of the 215 was closed for hours today as police investigated this deadly shooting. Now, drivers we spoke with shared their shock as police called this, quote, a day that dramatically changed lives.
It's very unfortunate.
Drivers sharing their concern over a deadly road rage shooting.
I feel like it's everywhere. It's just very unfortunate for the families and everything.
Arthur Young, one of many reacting to what police call a senseless act here on the 215 near Gibson. Officers tell us two drivers trying to pass each other started arguing when one man they identify as 22-year-old Tyler Matthew Johns allegedly pulled out a handgun and shot into the other car, killing an 11-year-old boy in the back seat.
I just want to remind everybody that we lost a life today that we didn't have to lose.
Henderson Police Chief Reggie Rader calling for change as this marks the latest example of violence on the road.
So we have to do better as a city, we have to do better as a community, we have to do better as human beings, because we can't allow this to continue to happen.
It's a sentiment Young and others agree with.
People need to stop their rage. Really, that's all it's all about.
And they encourage anyone to think twice before allowing something like this to escalate.
We gotta, keep our control of our emotions, not let the little things get to us, obviously.
Tyler Johns is facing multiple charges, including open murder and discharging a firearm into an occupied car. Now, police are still searching for witnesses or anyone who may have video of the incident. If you believe you can help, contact Henderson Police or Crime Stoppers to stay anonymous. Reporting in Henderson tonight, Sasha Loftus, 8 News Now.
So often when we are covering stories like this, we have a couple of things we have to do, right? We have to find out more about the suspect. So the newsroom is busy with research. Who is this person? Where do they work? Where might they have been going? Do they have a criminal history? And then, unfortunately, we reach out to the victims' families. And Joshua, I think you would agree, it's not something we like to do because you don't know what the reaction will be. But oftentimes, a family member might want to talk about their loved one and have a voice.
Yes, and I think it starts by making that phone call or that Facebook message and seeing whether you get a response or not. In this case, the child's mother, her name is Ruby. decided to share her story, wanted to talk to us. But it's a lot of convincing, and it's also like approaching it with a sort of with empathy. And I know we work in a career in a field. I'm sure you understand this, where it's like very fast paced, one shooting after another, and you can get kind of jaded and have this sort of like force field or whatever. It's almost like doctors, right? They go into work and they have this sort of like, shield around them, like, oh, no, I'm not gonna let this get to me. And journalists operate that way too, but you kind of have to approach it from the heart. And so I think with this mom, I just told her, hey, I recently lost someone that I loved a few months ago. I understand you're in pain. I would like to hear from you just so the public is aware of how you're feeling. And she was receptive to it.
And I've heard you on those phone calls. We sit near each other in the newsroom, and you are always respectful. And I think that's something that might separate a better reporter from another, and still having that empathy and not acting like a vulture.
Yes, yes. That's so. I think back in the day, maybe that's something people did, and that was a stereotype around journalists. But the whole like, I'm here to interview you or stick a microphone in someone's face after they just lost somebody.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm for sticking a microphone in someone's face if they're accused of something terrible or maybe. But something like this, I think it's just so important to, again, have that empathy. And if they're not going to talk to you, it's okay. But we certainly want to reach out. We will get to that soon after the break. Welcome back to The Investigators. We are revisiting a tragedy that hit the Las Vegas Valley, a child dead as a result of what police are calling a road rage shooting. I have Joshua Piguero with me. We just talked about it. Again, you made the call, or you communicated with this child victim's mother. Not easy.
Not easy. Brandon Dominguez's mother, and we're going to listen to that interview. Upset, very raw. I mean, to find out, think about it, her son was going to school. It was 7 a.m, and he was killed in what police are describing as a road rage incident. He was in the backseat of his stepfather's car, and to listen to her and how emotional she was, it's hard. I mean, you have to be, I think, a little bit like far removed from life to not be emotionally moved from hearing from her.
100%. I mean, we always hear people say, like, one of the worst things that can happen is losing a child. And I know you were sensitive to that. Let's take a look at your report.
This can be avoided. This shouldn't happen to any more families. Because I don't want anybody else to feel the way we're feeling. To get a phone call saying that your son got shot.
Ruby Chavaria is still trying to wrap her head around her son not being here anymore. She says Brandon was joyful and silly. Last Friday, the 5th grader was in the backseat of his stepfather's vehicle on his way to Hannah Marie Brown Elementary when tragedy struck.
He was just trying to make it to school on time that morning. That's all he was doing. If you guys saw his bag, but he had his lunch bag ready.
Police arrested 22-year-old Tyler Johns. Brandon's stepdad was reportedly trying to merge on the 215 Beltway when Johns swerved towards him. From there, witnesses and the stepfather gave various accounts on what happened. But according to the arrest reports that we obtained, Johns told Henderson police he shot the child, saying, "I did not know there was a kid in the back."
There's no excuse for you to be raging that bad, for you to try to shoot at somebody and scare them just because you don't want to go in front of you. There's no excuse for that.
Police say before the shooting, the stepdad rolled down his window and was arguing with Johns. He believed the shot was meant for him, but due to their speed, the round hit Brandon, who was sitting in the driver's side passenger seat. Police say the stepdad chased after Johns and crashed into Johns' car, forcing both vehicles to a stop. The stepdad then reportedly waved down a Metro police officer driving on the highway.
He did not feel guilty of shooting his gun. He was trying to flee the scene. She shot somebody and then just try to leave like nothing. Oh, I scared you. Okay, now I'm leaving.
I mean, my heart truly goes out to her. It's unimaginable. So you talk to the child's mom, and then you hear from her again.
Yes, and I think what happens in these situations is, and I'm sure you've dealt with this as well, is you have someone who's opening up about a very traumatic thing that just occurred within the last 3 or 4 days, losing a son, which no one imagines to ever lose their kid. And normally it's the kid that buries the parent, not the other way around. And so she opened up, interviewed her, had a conversation. She, as you heard it, and then she got upset about some of the details that we have reported, which was that in the arrest report for Tyler Johns, it states that he allegedly shot the child in the head, and police found blood on the back seat. And so he was immediately, according to police, passed away. When the mom read that in our story, mind you, she only talked to 8 News Now, no other TV station interviewed. She felt that I had violated that sort of bond with her because she shared this story. She's, grieving. I'm sure I was probably one of the first people outside of her family that she spoke to, and she felt like I'd broken that trust. And I'm trying to talk to her and tell her, like, I apologize. We were just reporting what's in the report, but at the end of the day, I understand that she is going through it, and you kind of have to take it.
Right.
What am I gonna do? I just took it.
And I know it didn't sit well with you.
No.
It did affect you, but those were details in the police report. We have a duty to be respectful to the families, of course, and this deceased child. But we also have a duty to report the facts, and sometimes it puts you sort of in an awkward place. But again, of course, our hearts go out to this family
Yes.
for losing a child. Let's take a quick break. Welcome back. We are discussing a road rage shooting which left a child dead here in Las Vegas, in the Las Vegas Valley. A tragedy. Joshua Piguero covered this. This happened in mid-November. We are recording this on November 25th. So this is very early in this case.
Yes, very early, and emotions are still very. One side, you have the family where emotions are still very raw because this 11-year-old child's life was gone. And then also the case is still playing out in the court system. I mean, Tyler Johns, we're talking now November 25th, but Tyler Johns is scheduled to appear in court on December 4th. So it's still very early in the case. And so, it's like a fresh wound, so to speak.
Absolutely. You were there for one of his first court appearances. We have to mention, of course, innocent until proven guilty. He is on that body camera video, though, admitting to this, which we will get to. But let's go to your report from Henderson Justice Court.
A Henderson judge says the man suspected of killing an 11-year-old in a road rage incident will be held without bail, calling the act premeditated murder. 22-year-old Tyler Johns appeared in court Tuesday handcuffed as he heard the case Clark County prosecutors are building against him.
The state's position in this case is that this is a case of first-degree murder.
Henderson Police Detective Carrie Skinner says Brandon Dominguez's stepfather was trying to merge on the 215 Beltway near Gibson last Friday morning at 7:30 when Johns swerved towards him. Brandon was sitting in the back.
When both vehicles merged onto the 215 and were then traveling westbound, there was a little bit of a separation, but I believe it was two cars, and then Mr. Johns sped up.
Shortly after, Henderson police say the stepfather, Valente Ayala, and Johns rolled down their windows and began arguing. Police revealed in court that between the Gibson and Stephanie exits, Johns allegedly shot into Ayala's vehicle, killing Brandon. Johns' attorney, Ryan Helmick, pushed back in court.
In regard to the witness statements that we do have in the report, is it safe to say that Mr. Ayala was indeed driving recklessly?
I don't have an opinion on that. I'm going by what witnesses are saying, which appears to me Mr. Johns was the aggressor.
Brandon's mother, Ruby Chavarria, was in court where she testified that Johns should not be granted bail.
What if he does this to somebody else? Nobody else deserves to go through what I'm going through.
Johns' attorney says he was driving to work and had no intent to kill the child, but the judge says Johns put the public in danger.
So pointing and shooting a firearm
at another vehicle that is occupied in the circumstances where there are a lot of vehicles occupied by persons on the highway. One, it can't be underscored how dangerous it is, but two, that intent is clear.
Tyler Johns is scheduled to appear back in court on December 4th. Reporting at Henderson Justice Court, Joshua Piguero, 8 News Now.
So that's Henderson Justice Court because it happened in Henderson
Yes.
on the 215 by that 11 merge.
Yes.
And then for anyone who's watching who's not from our area, we refer to our area as the Las Vegas Valley. Then you have a Metro police aspect here because one of their officers stumbled on this scene, right?
Yeah, they were waving him down. What happened was on 215 between Gibson and Stephanie was where the shooting occurred, and that's where police say Valente Ayala, Brandon Dominguez's stepfather, crashed into Tyler Johns, then got out the car and waved down an off-duty Metro police officer who was the first on scene. And so you had, even though it's in Henderson, you had Metro assisted. And yeah, so right now it's just the preliminary from what you see that they're charging Tyler Johns. They're saying they're going to charge him with first-degree murder, that it's premeditated. So they're really throwing the book at it, which, Vanessa, you have more experience covering the criminal court case. I don't know how a criminal court system here. I don't know how much that's going to stick, but.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder, is his attorney going to argue self-defense? And it sounded like maybe there was some indication in that courtroom when you were there.
Yeah, that's what it was. They're saying that there was a witness who reported seeing them both act aggressive on the road. And that's a witness that was actually captured on body cam video who said both cars were driving recklessly. Now, the witness said, and we're going to watch the body cam, said they didn't see any shooting. So we don't know if what the witness saw was after the shooting where Ayala is chasing down Johns to crash into him. But, it's still early.
Let's take a quick break. We will get to that body camera video after the break. Welcome back. We are revisiting a road rage shooting here in the Las Vegas Valley that left a child dead. Joshua Piguero is joining me, has been covering this. You reported on body camera video, and we were in the newsroom when Metro Police released this. We all looked at it. I think there was a level of shock.
Yes, it was very jarring, and especially to see Tyler Johns on video admit to the shooting, but to see this stepfather grieving the loss of his son, the 11-year-old son, and it's very emotionally stirring.
Yeah, let's take a look.
Officer, dead. Chilling words from Valente Ayala to a Metro police officer. They're on the 215 near the Gibson and Stephanie exit. Tyler Johns is turning himself around.
Why? I shot at him, bro. I didn't know.
Shot at him?
I didn't know.
Johns is arrested as Ayala is distraught over the loss. Henderson police say Johns and Ayala were merging from the I-11 to the 215 Beltway when they began jockeying with one another. At one point, police say Ayala got out in front of Johns, and that's when Johns sped up and shot at the back window. Dominguez was sitting in the back seat.
Yeah, no, it's 100% my fault. I shot at him, dude. I didn't even know you had a kid in the car.
You see Ayala laying out on the side of the 215 crying over the loss of his son.
Notify supervisors and stuff. No! Oh, God! Hey, bro. I'm so sorry. Do you have your ID? Okay. Just. I'm going to school.
Wow. Police shut down this stretch of the 215 as they investigated what happened. A witness describing the moments before the shooting.
Between these two, it started like I saw it way back at Gibson.
Okay.
And they were just doing all over, in and out, passing each other in the
Sure.
emergency lane.
I mean, it is just to hear his grief at that moment. It's just, it puts a chill right through you.
Yes, and to see, how the officer responded. I mean, I was just talking about this, is for him to bend down in the middle of all this chaos. Not only does he have to figure out, this officer has to figure out like what's going on, why does this guy want me to arrest him? And there's a child dead in the back seat, but to bend down and grab his father's hand and say, "I'm so sorry," that shows the humanness as well. Like that's not being lost. And so, respect to that Metro police officer for, dealing with this very traumatic situation.
He just stumbled on that dynamic scene. You have the one driver admitting to this. You have the stepfather who is grieving, and then you see him look in that other vehicle and see where the child was. I think some people might wonder, well, why wasn't anyone rendering aid, right? And you see the firefighters or paramedics, EMT, look and turn away. And we learned, police said he was shot in the head. So he was immediately deceased.
And it's unfortunate because you wonder how would each of us, you're a parent, you wonder how would you respond in a situation like that. I know you don't want to play through those scenarios, but I think it was brought up during court as, as I mentioned, they're throwing the book in a way at Teller John, saying first degree murder, premeditated. And, you wonder, I mean, Vanessa, from your experience, do you think like these charges will he be indicted on these charges, and would he even be presented with a plea deal?
I think it could go either way, right? You have him on body camera video admitting to it, but you could also argue that he immediately accepted responsibility. But also, number one, you shouldn't be involved in road rage. Number two, why are you shooting a gun in the middle of the 215, right? So I think it could go either way, but from covering courts here for a long time, we do often see cases like this result in plea deals.
Yeah, I just wonder what he ends up being indicted on once it goes before our Clark County grand jury, which we don't know unless you have the inside scoop.
Well, unless he could go through district court one way, or they could present it to the grand jury. We don't know which one they're going to choose, right? But, well, Joshua, thank you for joining me. I think for me, it's just this didn't have to happen. That's what stands out about it.
I agree. And like the police chief there said, Reggie Rader of Henderson Police, just be patient out there. And it's almost, we have to be responsible for our own actions. And I'm not trying to stand up here in a soapbox, but a child being killed on his way to school, 11 years old, due to the actions, it seems right now, according to police, of two adults. I mean, this has to stop.
Yeah, 100%. I think we would all agree. Yeah. Thank you for your reporting.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us. We will continue to follow this case.